Hello and welcome to Podsongs, where we interview inspirational people in service to others as inspiration for a new song. Today, my guest is Milo Gore, and his guest is Robert Carlyle.
Hello,
There he is.
how you doing?
I'm doing great, mate. How you doing?
Very well, very well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Are we diving straight in?
Yeah, I think unless there's anything you want to declare, because anything you may be taken in evidence and used against you.
Other than I'm nervous as hell, I don't think there's any. I'm recording through my laptop. I hope that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
I've always been useless at the tech side of music. So like when it comes to using a mic and stuff, then I had an interface and it all just
yeah.
goes to.
You
That's
know,
fair.
you know which end to sing in.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the basics. I know the
Yeah,
basics.
yeah,
Can I swear? Just if I
yeah. Sure, yeah.
not that I'm going to do it on purpose. I just
No. If you get upset, I mean, yeah.
But
No, I'm all set, and I've been have you had your music on repeat all morning, and yeah, I love it.
man, I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
of the also the collaboration with Christina is pretty fabulous now.
Yeah, yeah. People seem to love it. I mean, we love it, obviously,
Mm,
but people seem to absolutely love tapes, and it's
mm,
nice. It's a very different way of writing.
mm,
Um, it's a lot more. I mean, most of those songs we write in a day. I'll just go over to the house. We'll sit down. We'll kind of come up with a topic. I'll have like 3 chords, or she'll have 3 chords. We just kind of go from there. Write, record in a day, and then we get
mhm.
someone to produce it and make it just a bit.
Wow.
Yeah. Whereas Milo Gore is like a you know labor of love.
Mm. Yeah, so I think I've made the mistake in the past of just not introducing my guests in that because it's quite confusing for the listeners because every week a different musician comes on. So let me do a bit of a let's talk about you. Let's introduce you.
Okay.
So you're from Bristol.
I live in Bristol now. Yeah,
Okay.
I've been here since 2020, but originally I was born in London, moved down to a place called Binfield. It's a little village, um, south of kind of London. And then my parents live in and around Reading.
Mm.
Went to Falmouth University in Cornwall, and then now I live in Bristol. So I'm not really from anywhere. I can't call myself a Londoner. I like to think I'm from Bristol now.
Okay. Is it
Bit cool.
great music scene though, Bristol?
Unreal. Unreal. I mean, I'm still learning about it. 4 years in Cornwall and in Falmouth, such a small space. It's you pick up on the scene a lot quicker. Everyone knows it
Mhm.
all. And it's the same. It's actually very similar here. I guess the only difference is it's bigger. Um, and I'm still learning. I mean, I moved in 2020 in the 2 gaps between the 2 lockdowns.
Okay.
So when I first went, I was like, oh, amazing. And everyone's like, how's Bristol? And I was like, well, my flat's all right. That was for about a year. That's all I knew. But no, now I'm getting to know it even more and more. It's, it's something about the Southwest, to be honest. And Bristol kind of falls into that category. That's why I ended in Bristol rather than London or Brighton, because I met all my band members. They play in my band are from, well, they're not from Cornwall, but that's where we all met.
Mm.
And I think we kept that kind of Southwest collective, and it's just important. And I think there's just a lot of like people supporting each other.
Mm. Yeah. It's Cornwall and Devon. I know you tour a lot around there, and you're supporting to build up a local following, isn't it?
Yeah.
As a musician, I've made the mistake of traveling around the world, visiting
Yeah.
each place once,
Yeah.
and wondering why you don't get any results
Yeah.
because
No, for sure. For sure.
uh,
It's important to kind of nail your scene before you can expand. And I mean, we did in Falmouth in Cornwall, and then we moved to Bristol, and we were then a small fish in a big pond again.
mm. Yeah, I've seen the videos of people singing your lyrics back to you, and even on a small stage, it's just such a great atmosphere.
No better feeling.
Yeah.
No better feeling than that.
Yeah, I'd have to have an overhead projector behind me with putting the lyrics on
With
there for
the
people.
lyrics. To be fair, is that they know the catchy ones.
Okay, yeah, not every song.
No, and they know a lot of the older ones because that was the ones I kind of released during uni. So they probably just heard it a million times. Whereas the new
Yeah,
stuff, less so.
that's a good thing about being a musician. The people want to hear the old songs. If you're a comedian, I've got that pressure of coming up with new stuff. But
That's so true, isn't it? That is, and actually, I mean, it'll be interesting to talk to Robert about it. That kind of thing where I guess, and movies do hold,
mm,
you know, but I guess it's a certain type of movie, like Train Spotting, for
oh,
instance.
it'll always be
I,
Begbie.
exactly. Well, I'm gonna tell him I only watched it recently, but I've just got into this going. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest about everything, rather than pretend I watched it like years ago. Um, but I can see why that'll have like a standing in the future.
Mm,
Like, classic songs, as opposed to, like you said, comedy. It's a very much, I've never actually appreciated that as much about comedy. It's got to be new. You can't just tell the
mm,
same joke every time.
mm,
That's amazing. Yeah.
yeah. So how did you hear about? How did you get in touch with Robert? Because from he just tweeted your music, or you got it featured on all these. I've heard all now about these podcasts that he's been tweeting. These music podcasts. He must listen to them and.
Do you know what? I think it was through, there's a lot of like on Twitter,
Mhm.
and I don't know how I've fallen into it. Someone found my music. Maybe it was me following and just, share your album, share your song. And I just tag it every time. And maybe someone listened to it and liked it. And there's like this group on Twitter who have been amazingly supportive to unsigned artists, who champion unsigned artists. And I think, and they do podcasts, or little local radio shows. And I think Robert follows some of them, and it must have just picked up on maybe some of my songs there. And he does this thing called Saturday Songs,
Mhm.
um, every Saturday, and just shares like one by one. He goes, this, shares the artist and the link to like Spotify, and then this and this, and he just has this massive thread. And I just like happened to be on it, and I was
Mm.
blown away. Um, and one of the things I wrote down, I've got loads of notes, just dyslexic and unorganized as hell. So, um, yeah, one of the things that, someone of his caliber, as an artist, just as a general creative mind, sharing my stuff, it's stuff. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's supporting the unsigned artists, and like some of the music he shares is amazing. Um, and so, I know on this podcast normally you get humanitarians, academics, you know, scientists, and I don't really know all that kind of area. My heroes are, I've got a couple of writers, and mainly the main one is Jack Kerouac, and he's dead, so I couldn't ask him. Ben Howard is like my idol. Couldn't ask him because he's a musician. And I was thinking, well, who's a creative who loves music,
Mm.
who's kind of supporting the unsigned artist, who I've got a connection with just through like, I'm Scottish, and I just as soon as someone's Scottish, I have this like, passion, this affiliation just through, you know, missing my father's homeland. And I was like, well, I'm gonna, just try. I know when I emailed through the list, you were like, oh, there's
Yeah.
some.
I thought it was ambitious.
It
Yeah.
was, but I think I kind of underneath it knew that he might go for it,
Mm.
just because he knew who I was. So as long as who have we been emailing? Louisa.
Nice. Yeah.
Um, you know, maybe said, "Oh, it's Milo,"
Mm.
and maybe,
Mm.
so it was a long shot, but I think it'll be
Yeah.
cool.
We have to go through a lot of gatekeepers, agents to get to people. It takes so much time, and so it really helps when there's an in when you write this this little description about why he should say yes because he has a lot of interview requests. So
Yeah, I bet. I mean, what you guys do, this podcast is just a genius idea. I absolutely love it.
thank you.
Like when you sent it to me, I was like desperate to do it, but I was also like panicking because I don't know.
Yeah, I
You
remember you
know,
wanted a lot of footballers, which
well, it
yeah.
was like Marcus Rashford was like one, because I just think for me he does humanitarian work that I know of,
Mhm.
um, and I wish I knew more about these kind of things. I'm so focused on my own mental health
Well,
most of
it's
the
a
time.
it's a problem with many musicians. Is that's why I don't want to musicians interviewing musicians because we want to create a new song, and yeah, I guess
About something different,
about something
rather,
different. Yeah, otherwise
rather
it's
than
not a song about
feelings. Yeah,
But I mean, you talk a lot about your creativity and addiction and how important the arts is for you. And it's like a form of therapy, just being creative.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's my outlet. I do therapy and stuff, but it's my biggest outlet is just like
Mm.
writing, or mostly at the moment, playing live. It's just,
Mm.
it's the, it's the best drug there is. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen your live shows are either very energetic or super tranquil. It's like
Mm.
with
They get-
the tapes, it's very you're sitting down, you're playing.
yeah. I mean, tapes we haven't played live in a while because I think we decided it was like, when we record them, like I said, just in a day, we don't really look to remember them in a way.
Mm.
Like it's a snapshot. It's like, how are we feeling today? That's how we feel. Let's get it down. And that's why they're so raw and like sometimes badly recorded, but that's kind of the beauty of them.
Because you
Um,
record on tape, that's why the band's called tapes.
yes, yes,
So it's
yeah,
a one shot pony,
yeah, yeah.
right?
I mean, I think the last EP wasn't solely on tape. We definitely added some tape stuff afterwards. But the first one, yeah, it was on a 4-track tape machine, two
Mm.
guitars, two vocals, and you can hear little mistakes. There's definitely one song where I just botched the harmonies, but it's like, well, that's it. Um, and then with Milo Gore, yes, it's like, it's a lot more, I want to say methodical. I'm definitely getting more methodical now. And yeah, the live shows go a bit crazy. I mean, like I said, my favorite artist of all time is Ben Howard. His second album in particular. So not I love his acoustic stuff, but it's the second album for me. But so I'm this kind of singer songwriter. That's where I've always been. Write on acoustic, lyric based, melody based, just feeling, overall feeling. Because a lot of the guitar's quite monotonous or the same, especially that strumming pattern. But it's about the lyrics. And then I kind of met my band, and they've all added something different.
Mhm.
I mean, especially Kieran, he's a punk guitarist at heart. So you've got this like singer songwriter who's met this punk, and it's just his favorite artist, Jamie T, idols, and it's just gone. And that's why our live shows just pop off. And people have said to me, it's like when I was talking to one of my biggest supporters and one of my really good friends now is a lady called Sarah Gosling, who was BBC introducing Southwest, and now she's on Radio X. But she kind of gave me the first kind of leg up. But she said to me, "You're recording, your album's amazing, but it doesn't show you live." So I've done some live sessions recently. I'm going to get out some, but yeah, live it steps up on a level, I think, and that's
Mm.
why, yeah, I love getting people to shows.
Do you think that BBC introducing going to be a, a victim of the budget cuts? Have you heard that?
I think.
Because that's helped so many artists come through.
I mean, it would be tragic. It just would
Yeah.
be like there's no other word for it. And I think it would be wrong to cut it. I just think BBC would be making a horrendous mistake.
They're supposed to be, the British the public funded help, and the arts and the creative industry to come out of England is hugely important for England's position in the world. And artists like you, if they don't sow the seeds, you're not going to be able to.
Oh, it'd be It would, yeah. I mean, so many artists would come through it, like you say. Yeah. I mean, because I haven't been on Radio One. I've got friends who have. They're smashing it.
Yeah.
But to get onto Radio One, it's like, it's tough. I mean, I'm completely independent. I haven't got anyone.
Yeah, it's not even about the song, is it? It's about the whole
Often, if you
package
just have a
approach.
label connected to you,
Mm.
so you know that when BBC share it, they'll get revenue from it. But it's like, look, we've supported them. Now they're doing well, and it's like it's this catalyst that supports both. Whereas if I go on and it's like cool, but there's nothing much for them. And that's not saying that Radio One's bad. Like that's the dream,
No.
isn't it? It's the dream. But I just think without it gives hope
Mm.
more than anything. Like
Yeah, step on the ladder, the first step.
it's hope. And it's a big thing I'll be talking to Robert about. It's just like self-belief. Like
Mm, mm.
it gives you that belief when you have someone going, like a recognized, and that's why I chose
Mm.
Robert. He recognized me. BBC Introducing in the Southwest recognized me. And it
Mm.
goes, you go, okay, I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah, because there is so much new music. It's really hard. People, so you have these, these capillaries going out now. These music podcasts, fanzines, BBC Introducing, local. You suck it all up and you learn. They learn as people climb up. Without that, it's just
So saturated.
yeah, it's saturated. It's hard to get into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you also so what you said about recording those songs, you just sit down and you don't know what the song's going to be, and then you record it and then you move on to the next one. Did you know Lazy Wednesdays was going to come out? When you recorded it, did you know that was a special one?
I don't know. So tapes came about because I was sat in my bedroom in Falmouth, and I mean, it was a box. It was a Harry Potter's cupboard. I was sat at my desk, and Christina and my mate Matt, who I lived with, was there. And I was just playing on guitar, started like jamming Lazy Wednesdays chords, and Christina started harmonizing with me. And I genuinely, all the lyrics are like, I've got a room with a window, I've got a room with a door, I hear the seagulls cry. It's literally, I was just seeing things, and it was a Wednesday, and I was just so like, I was probably a little high, and I was just sat there, just kind of singing what I saw. And Matt, we call manager Matt, even though he has nothing to do with it anymore, he's the reason. Like, he's the reason we started. He goes, "Oh, you should start a lo-fi acoustic side project," and we did, and here we are. I mean, it's yeah, I think it's like 3.6 million streams now.
Yeah, well, it's such a great song. It's a chorus on a chorus on a chorus. Every part of it is really catchy, and
I think that's a big thing about tapes. There's no structure. There's no rules. Like, it's just how are you feeling in that moment. I mean, Adele, that one, just came about because it's quite a funny story. But it just came about because my friend had these 4 notes, and I said, "Oh, can I have them?" And I traded the.
I'll give you these 3 chords
But I
for
traded them.
those notes.
I traded them for a bump of K, which is obviously a bit ridiculous to admit. I was sitting in my room. She came in with another friend of ours, and I was like, she picks up the guitar. I know it's out of my mind. Started playing. I was like, oh my gosh, can I have those notes? Because she didn't play music. She was just learning guitar. She was like, yeah, fine, for a bumper K. So I gave them one. I took those notes and I just started playing the song. Her name's Adele, and if you listen back to it now, it has a completely new meaning.
You're selling drugs to
no
buy song.
Yeah, well, this is it, and now it's got I don't know how many that one's got, 1.5 million streams. I mean, we were very lucky with that EP. I can't remember who it was. It was a BBC. He was connected to BBC Radio 2. I think he was the old manager of Pride. So a friend of mine who was doing photography basically had a connection with him, sent him all these Falmouth artists, and he picked out tapes and said, "I love tapes.
Wow.
Like, if I wasn't managing Pride, I'd manage these guys." And we're like, well, out of all the artists he could have picked, I mean, he even sent Milo Gore stuff and Fair stuff, which is Christina's solo project.
Well, the voices fit together so well. That's another thing.
They do. And we were like, what? And then he sent it to a mate, put it in a Spotify playlist. And like Sad Indie, which had 300,000 monthly listeners.
You're made if you go on one of those. Yeah. So.
And that's why. And the only problem we have now is, like, if I show people my music, my Spotify, I go, I'm indie rock, and they go, okay. And then my 5 most popular songs are tapes tracks, because we put ourselves as the primary artist, so we get the monthly listeners.
Sure.
Which was clever, but also now people, this isn't indie rock. So it's a catch-22, but I went for growth rather than, I put it off for a long time, but I think it looks better when I have.
Those top 5 songs are the bane of many artists' life. Like, if you've had one hit, a couple of hits, and then every new album you release and every new song doesn't break your own top 5 is.
I think it's a problem. problem we have, to be honest, with just it's a generation thing, isn't it? People,
Yeah.
I heard something the other day when, I actually don't know if it was one of the podcasts I was listening to on yours, but it was that idea that, I know it was on a Will Joseph Cook podcast, but it was like one bit of advice. What would you say just to finish this podcast? And the guest that Will had on was, listen to, if you like one song of the artist, listen to another. Because you go onto playlists and you get all the top songs on
Yeah.
Friday release, or whatever it's called, New Music Friday. People listen to that one song and go, yeah, I love that song. I'm, I do it. You listen to that one song and you don't listen to any others. And it's so, so true. If you love that song, go onto their profile, listen to 5 more, learn what they're about, and don't just listen to the most popular ones, especially if it's mine. Spread out.
Especially those like morning coffee playlists. So people just put them on and they're playing all the time. You can rack up thousands of tens of hundreds of thousands of streams, but nobody comes back to listen to other stuff. And just because you're writing for playlists, you're writing the kind of this filler music, this kind of background music that isn't designed to stand out. So nobody, your music doesn't stand out on the playlist either. So it's a big problem. I think the whole Spotify model has changed music and it's pushing people into boxes and
well, it's that new technique they use. I think my friend called it the waterfall technique, where they release one single and then when they release the next single, they release the old single below it. And then when they release the third single, they release the first and second single below it as well. And so, which is, I think, quite a nice technique actually, because then it gets you to listen to all 3. And then when the 4th comes out, you listen to all 4.
So you re-release it? Yeah,
re-releasing, but under the name of the the next single every time.
I haven't seen that.
Like Ben Howard's done it recently. Lola Young, friend of mine's done it. And it just kind of...
Eventually there's an album there, kind of grows.
Yeah, almost. Like Lola released, I think, 6 songs. And I messaged my mate who produced it. I was like, this is amazing EP. I was like, no, it's just a single. And then they released an actual album.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get some tips from you on this podcast. So maybe I'll get tips from Robert as well. I think he's more of a music fan than I am.
Probably me as well.
Have you heard his daughter's music?
I haven't. I think I might have. I definitely looked it up the other day when I was doing my research. I don't know if I got around to listening to it, which was bad of me, but I have got it saved. So that's my next thing.
So NYC was a single that he was sharing, and I saw the really nice video, and she wrote a really, really nice song. And he must be over the moon though, because his daughter is doing the thing that he...
Well, I wonder what came first, whether he started the Saturday Songs thing ages ago, or maybe he suddenly just had this burst of it. Because I think her name's Ava.
Yeah.
Started sharing music. Maybe that was connection. But yeah, it must be really nice. Must be really, really nice.
Yeah. It's like if you're a huge football fan and your son starts playing for the...
Oh yeah. I mean, you'd
go to all the matches.
You'd live your fantasy through that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think my dad did that a bit when I was playing football at school. I know he loved coming to the games because it was just like, I
remember when I started this podcast, I had a bit of an agent, and he remembered his saying was that what is ordinary to you is amazing to other people, and he applies that to different things. And
I love that.
Yeah, it's really... So writing a song for us is something you do in your bedroom where you're watching seagulls, and it's pretty easy. But for someone else, it's fascinating. For us, being an actor is... We want to talk about acting. But Robert only wants to talk about music.
Yeah. So, well, this is why, I think I'll talk to him about the topic, but I've written down as kind of my topic. Well, just before I forget, I want you need to send me some of your music as well. I'd love to deep dive into that after this.
Sure.
Wait. Is he here?
I think so.
Hello. Where are we?
Oh, he is here. Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Very well. How you doing?
Good. Oh no, so I'm just shit at all this. I'm just making you scream big. Fucking technophobe.
Oh, same.
There we go.
How you doing?
Good. That you, Milo?
I'm bricking it now. It's suddenly become real.
Well, listen, mate, just start off by saying I'm a huge fan. You know what I mean? I have been a couple of years now, as you know. I do a lot of that, tweet a lot of bands and stuff out in the whole Saturday tune things on Twitter. And to be honest, you know, there's only a little bit of it that I really, really, really like. I tweet out a lot of the rest of the stuff because I think other people might like it, and that's great, you know. But your stuff is special.
Well, I really appreciate that. That means a lot.
Good.
We could stop there. I think it's made his.
Yeah.
Oh, where are you, Robert? Are you?
I'm going to have to call it quits at about 4:15 here. Okay. So 45 minutes.
Are you in Vancouver or are you?
No, I'm in Glasgow. Back in Glasgow. Been all over the place the past couple of weeks. And this full Monty press tour thing, which is just, I think I've done about just over 100 interviews in the last 10 days. So I'm done it.
Oh, God. All right.
No pressure, Milo.
Scratch off those full Monty questions that you had lined up.
Yeah. Don't worry, I haven't actually got any down for full Monty, so that's all good.
Good. So fire away.
Shall I? Yeah, Jack, should I just dive in?
Please do it. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for agreeing to do this. As I said, I'm absolutely bricking it. Just because it's real. I do have the tendency to ramble, so just please interrupt me. And if I, start going down a wormhole, just let me know. But basically, the title, this is going to be different to the full Monty kind of press interviews we're doing. I kind of want to dive into more of a topic, I guess, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, go for it.
Because so the topic I've kind of written down was identity, character, truth, and meaning from the perspective of an actor, music lover, and general creative mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got some questions written down, but I thought go with the basics. And I just thought, how did you get into acting, and when did you think this is what I want to do?
This is good. This is very different for the last 10 days.
Okay, good.
How did it start? I suppose the best to go even further back. When, way back in my life, my mother left when I was 3. I was a wee boy. And my dad's brought me up on his own. So during that time, the 60s, this is 1961, so she left at 64. So 64 up to, 74, that 10 years there. My dad, he used to take me, used to go to the cinema like 4 or 5 times a week. Those days, you can actually get in. I know this makes me sound like I'm fucking 125 years old, but there's certain cinemas you could get in with a lemonade bottle. I always remember that. So we used to go raking through the bins and stuff like that to find, any of the rich bastards that had thrown their lemonade bottles out. Just to find these bottles, and we would go to the cinema. And those days, there was always like a B feature, and it was like a newsreel. There was lots of stuff. It was like a whole kind of thing, The whole thing would last probably about 4 hours or something like that. And you could also sit in and watch it all the way through again. And that was brilliant because it was a nice, warm, sort of safe, comfortable environment. Because the thought of getting back to the shithole that we were living in was not good. You know what I mean? So that love of cinema and that love of that kind of flickering screen was a massive thing for me as a kid. So that's that 10 years. So from that point on, going into school, I'd never really thought about it. I'd never thought about really being an actor. This wasn't a thing. I mean, where I came from, nobody did that. So went through school and got to left school. I was a painter and decorator 4 or 5 years with my dad. And it was around about that time that there was an ad that was in the paper. I saw this ad in the paper, and it was this place called the Glasgow Arts Centre, and it was drama group, And And I knew that my pal of mine was into all that kind of stuff. So I saw that and I told him, I said, there's this thing you might be interested in. And he said, great, come with me. It's like, really? So I did. And so I went to this place and I must have sat there for at least 2-3 months, going to these classes like twice a week, not doing anything, just sitting at the back, hiding, and it was, it was like about 100 kids teenagers were in the room. Just, you can imagine just running about screaming, trying to get everything out of their life, So I was kind of shy from that. And the woman, her name was Maggie, Maggie Grant. This one night she said to me, she said, what are you doing here? Well, I just come along to the drama group with my pal. She said, are you not going to join in? And she said, well, you might as well just go then. So I thought, fuck it. All right, I'll go. So I got up and I'm walking out towards the door of this place. And it was hard. And Maggie's, I've seen Maggie loads of times since, and she said, oh, that was the moment. She said, what is that then? I said, well, you've just told me to go. And she said, is that it? So you're just going to accept that? I said, well, I don't know what to do. She says, well, sit down. You know what I mean? If you want to join in, that's fine. So that was the moment. So I sat back down again, but I was very nearly out the door. And I think if I'd have went out the door and she hadn't said, so that's it, I'm not sitting here talking to you right now, it would have been over.
That's something out of a movie.
Well, it's a massive, see, you find, I think, in your career, you probably might find that as well, Milo. There's little moments that you can actually go, that was important. That I've just told you was massively important, obviously. And various other things like this happened in my life, but that was the first major kind of like, right, you're going to do this. So that's how it started.
So I had like visions of Billy Elliot. Get in there and dance. That's amazing.
They're definitely within the door if they'd asked me.
Yeah. But no, it's interesting that you say there's like these moments. I mean, when I was speaking to my dad about it, why I'd asked you and speaking to Jack about it, I almost said you chose me in a way. Like I had someone of your standing share my music and go, this guy's an amazing artist. And I was like, okay, people care. People are out there who are listening, who care and who will find your music. And I think that was, it was a big thing for me. And that's why I sent your name across. And luckily, hopefully when you got contacted about it, maybe it said Milo, and maybe that's why you agreed.
It did. I mean, that's why I'm here. It's for you.
I appreciate that. Awesome. Well, okay. Well, the next thing I want to talk about is a bit of self-belief. A friend of mine, Clara, actually just recently graduated from Bristol Old Vic, and it kind of leads on from having someone believe in you. And she said to me, we were talking about belief and confidence and all this, because I think I was just having a moment of being like, am I good enough for this? Like, I'm only 27. When you're 27 and some of your mates are making it at 22, you think, God, I'm past it, finished, even though I'm not. But she said, you've got to have a level of delusion to make it in this industry. But did you and have you ever experienced like self-doubt or imposter syndrome, or has there ever been a character where you thought, no, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or I can't connect with this character?
I don't know so much about characters, but certainly in the early part of your question there, for sure, definitely, definitely kind of thinking riddled with self-doubt, we can pick up on that point, I suppose, with Maggie. So I kind of, I was at the Glasgow Arts Centre for the next few years, and I was doing lots of plays and stuff like that. And then I applied to go to drama school, which they had to tell me about drama school, by the way. I didn't even know it existed, but that was a thing, So I went and auditioned for drama school, and I didn't get in. And that was the first rejection and the career. Of course, and music the same as in acting, it's full of rejection, and you have to kind of get used to that kind of double quick. But anyway, the first time it happens, it's a blow. It's a real blow, and I was devastated by that. And so again, Maggie and another guy called Robin, this time Robin Wilson, his name was, he just, when he heard that I hadn't get in, he freaked out. He was so fucking angry, you know, and I couldn't believe this. He's a very soft-spoken man normally. There's a tirade of abuse, you know, for the powers that be, because they hadn't accepted me, and that was a real help, because it didn't exactly put the doubts away, but I thought, well, actually, because I'm thinking I'm no good. Obviously, I'm shite, so that's why I'm not getting in. But him saying that, and also Maggie joining in, and all was like, well, actually, maybe it's just one person's opinion, you know. Maybe I can move forward here. But that doubt continued right through. I went to drama school. I'm out of drama school by this point. I felt an imposter in drama school for sure, because I'm sitting there, and most of the people that are around about me are all sitting around talking like that.
That was mad how you changed straight into that.
Well, that's what I had to eventually learn to do, because this voice, especially back then, was I was told at the time, you know, at drama school, unless you change that, you'll never work. But we'll see, you know. But anyway, there's loads of kind of standard English speakers on and about me, so I did feel a bit of an imposter. I thought, I don't really belong here, belong in this environment. And that continues. So drama school had finished by this point, and then I was out, and I was picking up work as an actor in the theatre, but I couldn't. Talking about doubt, I couldn't tell any. The only person that knew was my dad. By this point, I had friends, right? That, I mean, they knew I'd went there, but they didn't really know what drama school was either. So they didn't realise that I was sort of setting off as a career. So, but particularly, you know, getting a taxi, stuff like that. You know, you're chatting away. What do you do, mate? I would go architect. Anything that began with an A that wasn't acting. You know, I could not say it. I just could not say it. I just felt that, oh, I can't possibly say that. So that real riddled me down. This is quite a funny story. I don't know if it's not maybe that interesting in terms of your songwriting and stuff, but this was true. I had a season ticket for the football, you know, Partick Thistle football. I used to go and sitting beside this guy, and of course, I'm going to be with this guy for a year, obviously, sitting beside him at the game. And of course, that conversation came up, and he said, what do you do? I was like, fuck, you know. And I just said, chartered accountant. It just came out my mouth. I had a fucking clue what chartered accountant was. Fucking clue. And of course, he didn't either. So it was perfect. So that was the end of that conversation. So I sat beside that guy for the next 3 years.
That's brilliant.
I've often thought that guy's probably thought that wee chartered accountant did well for himself. Well, but that's how scared I was to even say the word.
It's interesting you say it. I mean, if people ask me what I do, I say I'm a primary school teacher, and I'm not even a primary school teacher. I run the breakfast and after school clubs after school. So I feed kids toast and play Uno. But I'm with you on that. It's so hard until you've landed, I don't know, a specific moment in your career where you're getting either paid or just I don't know, there's that turning point where it's, oh, okay, this is real. But I am firmly working at a primary school and with kids. But I occasionally, if I'm feeling plucky and ballsy, I'll be like, I'm a musician. So
Even the way you said that, though,
it comes out as almost magician. I said it to my girlfriend earlier, and she goes, "You're not a magician." I was like, "I know. I can't say it. I can't. I'm not there yet enough to back myself with it."
Brilliant. I get it. I totally get it. I'm with you, man. Totally get it. Because it's not. I mean, I don't know about for you, but for me, it was never in my family. No one, you know, all the way back through all the Carlyles to the beginning of time. No one's ever been involved in the arts, so there was no one to kind of talk to about that. Like for somebody to tell me, you know, it's okay, it's all right, you can call yourself that, and you that's what you want to be, and that's fine. So it took a long time, and as you say, it wasn't really until probably probably I did a film called Riff Raff with Ken Loach. That was way back in 1990. But, and that was my first, big part, lead part in the film. And that was it. That was it. There was kind of no escaping it then. I was on this road, and I was going to have to tell people, yes, I am an actor. It's like starting up a fucking AA meeting. I'm Robert, and I am an actor.
Yeah. That would actually be a funny sketch, wouldn't it? Where you get creatives in a circle actually saying what they do. Yeah. That's fascinating. Well, I guess on that, you kind of, so I kind of go on to talk about identity and beliefs, and, you've admitted like you're an actor. Not right now, obviously we know. But so with Cobra, you played a Tory Prime Minister. You played a character that directly contradicts your beliefs and values. Even though it's still a fictional character, was that a harder job where there is an element of realism to the character, where you had to step away from your objective truth and kind of biases just around what you believe? Was that harder than maybe some of the other characters you played, where it's just a more of a I mean, I don't know how to say it. It's so topical, was that a lot harder?
I know exactly what you're saying. Absolutely it was. But that was the challenge, for me to be even offered that. That was amazing, for someone like myself to be offered a conservative prime minister. It was like, wow, that's of all the parts I've ever played, that is the furthest away. Even mass murderers and psychos.
Yeah.
You played Hitler.
Wow. Exactly. But that, it's different with Hitler, because that's just this kind of historical thing, and that was more of a kind of piecing it together history type thing. But doing that present day, we don't really ever say in Cobra what the year is. It's a kind of, it's whenever it is. But that was, very, very difficult to. So once it came through and I was offered this thing, I'm sitting staring at it, going, really, honestly, can I do this? Can I do it? Can I be convincing as that person? That was a big ask for me, and even though it's in a Scottish slight Scottish accent, as you've probably seen it, it's very, very light, and it's kind of based on a lot of people that are in the borders in Scotland. Kind of, like you watch the Scottish rugby team play, and you hear the Scottish rugby players. It's like they're vaguely Scottish, because they've been through that whole almost some of them like Oxbridge type world, and that's exactly what Robert Sutherland is. He's been Balliol guy, philosophy, what he studied, Oxford. So, trying to convince people of that was really, really tough, because you do doubt yourself. Because it's so, because what you said is quite interesting. That there's a kind of an element of reality to that, even more than playing Hitler and these kind of things. There's a reality to that thing, which you've got to get absolutely right.
It's that current day thing, isn't it? It's I mean, even you look at just shit show at the moment with politics, and also, I mean, the SNP over the last few days. It's chaos. So it's such a fine line, because you're trying to get into character, but also it must be. I mean, did you think twice about taking it on, because obviously you're playing a character, whereas, I mean, that's a big, I think, distinction between maybe acting and music. I am on stage, I'm me. Whatever I say it's me. So as an actor, you're portraying a character. So, and I guess I go on to ask about, how do you get into those characters? Is there an element of method acting? Because my identity is really important to me. And like I said, I don't know if my identity changes when I'm on stage. I know that I find meaning on stage. Are you like present in that character, and is Robert Carlyle completely gone? Or can you switch out quite easily when it goes cut, and are you back?
It genuinely depends what it is. It depends on the character. Uh, it's a tough one, this, because I was over doing US TV for best part of 10 years. I did a show called Once Upon a Time, and that was 160 episodes of that. So that's 160 hours of TV. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work, and it's very, very quick. It's a kind of quick bang, bang, bang like that. I mean, there's loads and loads of scenes in a day, and you've got to be able to kind of move quicker, and you've got to be able to kind of change gears quicker. That's really very, very, very difficult to do. But it was a fantastic experience for me then, because it kind of taught me that. Because prior to Once Upon a Time, I was much slower, especially on film. I would always think I would always aim for the fourth take. That would be the one. So the first one would be a kind of, almost like a rehearsal on film. Second one, you would sort of try and polish that. The third one, you would go, okay, I made my mind up. Fourth one, here it is. And that was kind of like a pattern for me. And of course, suddenly you're doing this super quick schedule. That's kind of out the window. So you end up sometimes doing one take and two takes and stuff like that. Funnily enough, Danny Boyle, when I did the second Trainspotting film, just towards the end of it, Once Upon a Time, and Danny said about me and Johnny Lee Miller. And Johnny Lee had went and done, what was the one he does Sherlock Holmes thing in America? Elementary. And he said, one day when we were working, he says, my God, he says, you guys are quick. Because he'd remembered us, way back in the first film, and that was his kind of knowledge of us. He said, my God, that's so quick now. And me and Johnny looked at each other and we thought, is that a good thing? I don't know whether that's a good thing or not. But there's a kind of quickness and a kind of ease in it then, that you're not precious about it, not quite so precious about it anymore. And what you tend to do is you relax, and that's good.
I was going to say, it's like rehearsing. I mean, if I've been on tour, the third gig's maybe the best. You've got the shakes out and the nerves out on the first one. Second one, any mistakes are gone. Third one, you're like, okay, yeah, we've got this. And you just kind of, you can put more weight behind it and the performance goes up because you're just, I guess you're in character. You're in your live character.
You're getting almost, as part earlier in your questions about how much it is you. I think you're getting, strangely enough, closer to you then, because we don't walk about day to day nervous. You know what I mean? We get these nerves and we perform. So you're trying to get rid of that. You're trying your best to not be like that. You look nervy, the audience are going to get nervy.
Yeah, for sure. That's so true.
Did that cover that? There was so many other nice things on that question. I can't remember.
No, it did. I mean, one of the things was that I touched on was I find meaning when I'm on stage.
Yes.
I feel quite lost. Sometimes I'm just kind of meandering around. Okay, I've got primary school this morning, I'm interviewing Robert Carlyle this afternoon, and suddenly I'm a musician again. It's like, I feel like maybe at your stage in your career, it's different now, but maybe at the beginning, because obviously you've got a family and all that. It's just maybe at the beginning, did you find meaning when you were on stage?
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. You're able to, one of the wonderful things about drama is you find yourself, like locked in a room with other actors, and you can get an awful lot of stuff out, especially if you're doing improvisational stuff. Because obviously when you're improvising, you're going to go to the closest thing that you know. And sometimes that can be quite an emotional journey, improvisation. And you're kind of getting out the past. The stuff that you're kind of railing against the world almost, or the things that you've, especially when I was younger, about all the kind of things that happened to me in my life that I thought were unfair. that's when it all comes out, you know. And I'm sure with music as well, I'm sure you've got the opportunity to do that, to go bang. It's interesting, you know. You're saying you're you. Paul Weller's like a good pal, you know, and Paul said, he always says, why don't you do this, and why don't you write this, and why? I said, Paul, because you know, I'd give the world to be like you, man. That you just stand up, wow, bang, there it is, that thing that you are. I can't really do that. You know, I'm not a writer. You know, I've tried. I'm just not. I'm a performer. I'm an actor, and it's an entirely different thing.
I think it's a beautiful thing though, in the way that these creative industries and paths and jobs are so intertwined, but also so different. You know, I would love to be able, and I did a bit of acting at school. My sister is trying to become an actress, actor. Yeah. And she's brilliant. She can cry on command. It's got me in trouble quite a few times. But I've always wanted to, and like I said, I did it a bit at school, and then I think I hit 17, 18, and I got conscious effectively, like of myself and my body and my being. And that self-consciousness kind of grew, and I watch films and I go, I'd love to do that. But I still remember trying then to act characters, and I just can't reach it. I can't be that person.
Being someone else.
Yeah.
You know, it's when you know, that's what you're ultimately trying to do, I guess, as an actor. You try to convince people that you are someone else for that, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. But I must say that there's very, very few moments that this happens. I can definitely count it in one hand. The moments when you actually lose it. That's weird, man. That's like a different thing that starts to happen in your head, and you feel it. And the other actors says, "Yeah, oh my God, what was that?" Because these eyes change, because it's all in the eyes, and if those change, something's gone on. And that feeling then, it's like, I can actually, even talking about it just now, goosebumps, you know, you can, and these are the moments that I'll live for, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to try and get that. But of course, if you try too hard, you're never going to get it. That's where the relaxing comes in again. But then you kind of feel that thing that you are not yourself in that second. Now, you can, you know, it's very hard to talk about that because it can sound wanky, you know what I mean? And it is.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That thing when you can, I've had it generally in the more violent, the more outrageous characters. That's when you get that, because you have jumped outside yourself into some thing.
It's so interesting you say that. The next question was like, are you present or conscious when you're playing a character on set? Are you having a sort of out of body experience, or where you just zone everything out? And it's interesting that you then just said it, and the smile that came up, and the smile that came on both me and Jack's faces, because I think we have it as musicians. I recorded and you talked about goosebumps. I talked to my my producer when I was recording my album. He'd go, okay, stop, do it again, but more desperation. And I came from musical theatre. That's kind of where, and I think people can hear it in my music, where it was, there's more to it. It's emotional. It's not pop music. Yeah.
And why I like it so much. I totally get that, you know.
And he used to do this thing where he'd be like, right, that's it. And he'd do this because he'd have got goosebumps, and he called it the goosebump test. As soon as he got goosebumps, he was like, that's the one. And then we'd just move on to the next part. And I thought it was such a good test. It was a physical feeling rather than just like, the note's good. It was like, no, that's hit.
It's in your heart then. It's moved away from your mind, you know. It's true what you said, you know, about, you know, you were kind of alluded to that there. Whenever, in every scene, you know, that I've ever done, there's always your own little monitor that's kind of like there at the side of your eye, and you're listening to everything, especially if it's an accent. You're talking, is that sounding right? And that's one thing that's going on. Then you've got to think about, you know, is this the physicality of it? Is that right? are the emotions at the right level here? Is that right? There's so many things that are going on in that little monitor that it's a dialogue that you're having with yourself almost as you're doing it. And at the same time, you got to think about the cam. You think, "Is my line here? Is that right?" Yeah. There's so many, there's technical things that go into it. So therefore, going back to what I said, to lose all of that and not feel any of that, that's when it's amazing.
It's a drug, isn't it? In a way, like, yeah, it's just, there's no better feeling. It's like with me and Jack were talking about how when people sing your lyrics back and you stop singing and you're just like, it's just, but I also agree, like the songs where we go absolutely mental, I just love that. And, they're not even like that on the record, but just live, you're just like, for this hour, I'm a fucking rock star. So you go nuts. That's just so good. Awesome. So I watched Trainspotting for the first time on Thursday.
Wow. Okay.
I know, poor form. I've always been told to watch it. I think I've put it off for ages, and I was talking to my dad about this. I've put it off for ages because, so I in 2019 I went to rehab, drugs. I'm really open about it. I think it's one of those things like my mental health. I mean, you can hear it all in my music. I think it's, if you don't talk about it, then it just builds the stigma. But as an ex-addict, I kind of put off watching it because I knew I'd get anxiety watching it, and I did. It was brutal, but it was unbelievable. I think it was just you letting down your family and stuff like that. It was just, and friends, and the kind of lying, and I know I wasn't on heroin, crack. It was very much a bit of the universal of milder drugs. But it was just such an amazing show. There was almost no beginning or end, and it was just, everyone was just improvising life and forever searching. And I saw a bit of myself in every character. And there's that opening scene where Ewan McGregor is talking to, they've got the air rifle and they're shooting people, and they're talking about the meaning of life and how some people have had it and then they've lost it, with their first album, and then they've just trailed off. And I think I'm going through that kind of stage where, and it goes back to self-consciousness and just being, because in rehab, there was a saying that said, choice is consciousness. And that's great. And I want to be conscious. I want to be in reality. But I've also found that with the choice is consciousness, self-consciousness has come back from when I wasn't, when I was heavily on drugs, I just wrote this album and it's just like chaos, Now it's like I'm stuck. I've, as they said, had it and I lost it. And I guess so because I've lost that, I'm trying to refine that confidence. And I guess, is there a particular way that you build confidence in a character? How do you find confidence in a character? How do you get to that delusional stage where you're like, I'm him, he is me. That's, I can do that now.
Wow. That's the $64,000 question right there. That's a tough one. I understand that because I've got many, many musician friends, some people that have been really strung out on drugs pretty much their whole career. And like when they've come off it, they can't do it because that was part of it. You know what I mean? So it's very, very difficult.
I'm struggling. I'm 3 years clean now. I'm 3 years clean.
Oh, well, you're out of the mire then, I think it's, then it's got to be about, contentment within that, be content within that way of life that you've now found, and enjoying that. Like I've never been addicted to anything, but I barely drink. I mean, I can't remember the last time I had a drink. Like I used to smoke. I can't remember the last time I had a smoke. These things were so much part of, especially the smoking things, like a part of an identity in a way. But the longer you get away from it, the better you feel about yourself. And you think, actually, no, that was never me. Because it wasn't. Go back to when you're a kid. That's not you. Drugs ain't you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Find your own self, you know, but I think retracing.
100%. I think for me, it was a big self-medicating thing. But I never thought that something like weed made me more creative. But what it did do was put those blinkers on.
Yeah.
You know, now I'll write a song 5 minutes and I'll be like, fuck, I got to do the bills, or there's loads of dishes to do. Whereas back then, when I was at uni and I'd just sit there and go, this is shit. 10 minutes later, okay. And then it would, you know, and I feel like I still have the creativity. It's just, I just need to work out how to get to it. And I think lose a bit of that self-consciousness. Like sorry, Karen.
No, I was going to say the thing to keep in mind, of course, is, you know, especially with some weed, you know, that, I mean, how many times, especially probably now, that you'll be in a company of people that are stoned and you're talking a lot of shite. You know what I mean? But at that moment, these people are completely believing that thing, and that is
Yeah.
here in the fucking world. In fact, it ain't. It's a lot of fucking pish. So you kind of think, well, think about your music then.
Yeah.
Was it such a great idea?
No, for sure.
You know what I
That's
mean?
what, yeah.
It's their head, I think, for me, especially as an actor, you've got to be, I think, you know, you've got to be completely, you know, clear-headed. And I think in music, I can only benefit you.
I agree. It's easier to be methodical than, you know, why am I playing that? Why am I saying that? In the past, it was maybe just, it was an emotion rather than you kind of linking your head and heart rather than just spewing ideas.
Listen, not necessarily, you know what I'm saying here. I could, you know, like for example, I met, you know, the fantastic dinner with Harvey Keitel once. You know, I mean, I loved Harvey Keitel. He's fantastic, my favorites. And I was just asking him all about Bad Lieutenant, you know, which is just insane. That, you know, if you've seen it, definitely go and watch that. It's that is a whole film where everybody involved in that film is out their tits, you know. And there's some brilliant moments in that. And there's bits in it which is kind of weird, you know, and bits that don't work. But there is some brilliant moments in that, and maybe that has helped them almost in a sense to get there and kind of lose all the kind of inhibitions. I mean, there's a moment with Keitel standing, he's naked in front of these, I think, 3 or 4 prostitutes in a hotel, and he's just making this kind of noise, standing making this fucking noise. Well, there's no way you're going to do that if you're not out of your head, you know.
Yeah.
So he kind of admits that. Of course, Abel Ferrara, who directed the thing, he's sitting behind the camera, fucking shooting up as they're rolling. That's car crash material right there. That's okay, you know. But that's short term, though. You know what I mean? You look at Abel Ferrara's career. You know, he sits this. You know what I mean? Because you cannot
blip. Yeah.
You cannot do that. You cannot keep doing that.
Yeah. For sure. Well, I guess just a few, because I know we've got 10 minutes. But
you're all right. Keep going.
Well, I was just going to ask, why do you? So I've got like 4 kind of questions in one. I guess it's like, why do you like music? What I was going to say, what did you like in my music? But I guess it kind of links. What do you look for in music, and what grabs you? Because you obviously love music.
I think I think I've got a good kind of radar thing. I detect emotion, you know, I detect truth. That's what I really, really go for. You know what I mean? So I grew up with listening to, you know, like for instance, one of the earliest influences for me was Nick Drake. You know, I love Nick Drake. That kind of thing, you know, and the kind of beauty of that. It's the beauty in music, you know, that does it for me. I absolutely love it. And it helps, you know, sometimes it's the strangest sources as well. You know, when I was playing Hitler, you know, the TV thing that I did, I'd heard that, I'd learned that he was a great opera lover, and he loved Wagner, strangely enough. That was his thing. And there's actually a fantastic book called The Prophet and His Disciple, which is about Wagner and Hitler. So Wagner was kind of projected this kind of Teutonic German type thing, you know. And there's an opera called Lohengrin, which allegedly Hitler had seen over 100 times. And Lohengrin, the kind of very quick kind of story of that is that you've got Germany is falling into darkness. It's like bad shit going on. And out of the darkness comes this person, Lohengrin. And he said that he can help. He can bring the light back, you know. So he says, but the only thing is I'll do this. He says, but don't ask me where I came from, and don't ask me my name. That's the two big things. So he does it, everything's fine, Germany's all happy. And what do they do? They start asking where he came from, and they ask him his name. So it starts to spiral. And in the end, Lohengrin dies in the flames of Berlin. So that's when I heard that, I thought, oh my God. Because Hitler's obviously mentally ill.
Yeah.
You're watching that, you know, at a young age. He's thinking, I'm on. That's me. I'm the guy that came out of the darkness. So that music. So I'd never listened to really listened to that much opera before. But anyway, in the end, I listened to Lohengrin about 100 times because I thought, well, that's where he was. That's where his head was, you know. And it's
Did you find beauty in it, knowing
yeah.
that he'd listened to it and it's Hitler, but also, I guess that's where the objective truth comes in. Were you listening as Hitler, or were you listening as Robert Carlyle?
I was definitely listening to Robert Carlyle.
Yeah.
I could understand it. I could understand. It helped me understand a little bit more because you're playing a character like that. You are so far away from that person.
100%.
You cannot get anywhere near it inside of their headspace, you know. But that little hint came through Lohengrin. So I mean, I guess it's back to your question of listening to why do you listen to it? It's to get the emotion, and Lohengrin's full of emotion for me as well. So you go from Nick Drake to Wagner. You know, it's in there. You know, it's in many the strangest places. Sometimes you'll find that. You know, you find the emotion. That's why I love music. That's why I love the people that I do. That's why I love your stuff. You know, it's all there. It's all in there. You know, and it just talks to me. It can make me cry. Genuinely. You know, I can sit and listen to music in tears, you know, and I love it so much.
Appreciate that massively. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you. I can appreciate production. I can appreciate instrumentation, and I can appreciate lyrics. Even I think for me, there's when I write, there's a chord I always go back to, and it's just because for whatever reason, it just hits home. And you know, I listened to some of I was listening to. In primary school, I play a lot of The Greatest Showman and Disney hits, and sometimes I find myself just listening to them on the drive back because there's just something about the way they sing and they hit those notes, and because it's musical theatre, because it's almost acting more than anything, it's that emotion you feel. I mean, and that leads on to my next question: is what's your view on like AI? Obviously, music is AI's on the rise everywhere, but it's also on the rise in music.
You know, it terrifies me. You know, it terrifies me. And you've got my daughter, Eva. You may know of Eva. She does music. Eva. She was telling me that there's this AI thing, which can write you an essay in 20 seconds, and it's being used. Students are using that because my daughter studies English, and she says there's people that are using that. So there's got the professors themselves are actually saying it's almost impossible for them to tell if that's been the case, if that's been done. And my head was just in my hands, man. I just couldn't believe it. Really? Is that what we'll come to? And I'd imagine music's, you know.
I think there was a Drake song that was released that had been created by AI, and it was just like blowing up, and then everyone realized it was fake. It's just mental, isn't it? It just and talking about that truth and meaning of beauty in music, it goes out the window. I understand it's going to be useful in certain areas like tech development and stuff, but just stay away from the arts.
How
You know?
cool you be, man? You know what I mean? For me, if I was listening to something and I was sitting there crying, there had been an AI. Can you kill an AI? So, well, I'd want to kill it.
No, I'm 100% with you. I'd be furious.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying, isn't it? I guess I've only got a few more questions. What next for you? I know you've been doing press tour, but is there any characters that you'd love to play? And is there anything I haven't asked you? I know that was a question from my dad. He was like, throw this one in there. Is there anything I haven't asked you?
So tell your dad, if you say that to anybody you did an interview with, the actor's going to go, no, because they don't quite happy, stop talking. that one doesn't work. Yeah. No, but in terms of, is there anything I'd want to do? This is genuine. I'd never ever talk about that, because it's like, sure as damn it, it's not going to happen. And so you try and just don't mention the things you want to do. There's things that I have wanted to do. I've felt I've missed the theatre, because I started in the theatre. I grew up in the theatre. And that's what I was doing. I was actually directing in the theatre when Ken Loach came to Glasgow and auditioning for Riff Raff. So that was the thing, and I'd almost decided that I wasn't even going to be acting. I was quite happy directing, So I miss the theatre, and that's something that I wished I'd done. Like, I'd love to have played the Iago. I love that. And Othello, there's another Webster play called The Duchess of Malfi. It's awesome. Like, it's the character in that. These are characters I've probably missed. No, it's probably time has passed by. So I regret not spending a wee bit more time in the theatre. Really, probably should have done. I'm getting offered more and more now. I do get offered theatre a lot, and I'm always sort of filming and stuff like that. So there's never time. But it's now come at the stage that it's whether I'm physically able to do that. I got offered something recently, and once we kind of looked at it turned out it was going to be 96 performances. That's a lot, especially the parts generally in the theatre are going to be parts that play in film, which is a lot of energy in there and a lot of high emotional stuff in that. Try to do that 96 times, hard. And I remember a story. It was actually Marlon Brando when he did Streetcar Named Desire. He did that. He didn't do that on Broadway right afterwards. Lasted a week. Couldn't do it because he couldn't do it. And you can imagine that kind of Stanley Kowalski, whatever it is, that performance, that massive, the size of that performance. He was trying to do every night. See, in film, it's obviously film and TV is closed off into sometimes 30 seconds, a minute. You can batter that minute as hard as you can. And I can't explain the amount of what that takes sometimes. You can do a minute take, minute and a half take, and be absolutely shaking at the end of it because you're throwing everything into that. You try doing that on stage, night after night after night. So Brando, one of the greatest of all, got a week into it and thought, I can't do this. So I just don't know whether I would be able to, physically keep up.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever thought about putting on a gig with the music you love? And would you like to?
Love to do that. I'd love to do that. It'd be great. Yeah. I don't know how that would go about that, but I would love to do that.
Collab, maybe?
Why not? Why not? Well, I'll leave it with you.
That'd be awesome. I was going to say before we end, so my mum's grandparents actually grew up in Glasgow, and my dad grew up in Argyll. So that's actually Lochcatted there, by Tainholt. And my auntie lives up in the Gorbals at the moment. Yeah, I'm Scottish through and through. Scotland v England. I'm Scotland through and through. I just have a posh English accent, sadly. That's why I love hearing the Scottish accent. I guess the question I end on, and no one really ever has an answer to this because is there an answer? But so it's my album title. How do you cope while grieving for the living?
My son's mostly your lyrics and your titles of your stuff. It's just draws you in right away, you know.
Well, there's a funny thing with that title. I actually didn't come up with it. I can't claim it. I was sat in bed smoking a joint in Falmouth in Cornwall, and I used to read the Daily Mail because I liked looking at the pictures. I didn't have to click on the stories. I was just dyslexic as hell, so I just liked the pictures. And I came across this story where this man had married his wife, and he'd said, and she was terminally ill with cancer. And he said, how do you cope while grieving for the living? And I was like, and I just texted my band through and was like, I've got the album title. And that's where it came from.
That, isn't it? My God, that's really profound, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. But I mean, if it's a question, it's how do you, man? You know, I mean, you hear stories like this all the time, don't you? People going through terrible illnesses that are, you know, they're going to die, you know, and the people around about them helping them through. And you get that. It's well, not so much even with something like cancer, you know, with like the poor people that suffer from dementia and stuff like that. Now that's in similar territory right there. Sadly, my mother-in-law, that's where she is at the moment, you know. I mean, it's really, really tough, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I'm looking behind the screen, there's photographs of I see her, you know, when she was younger, Kathy, you know, and she was vibrant, she was funny, she was a laugh, you know, and now she's just in a really, really bad place. And that is what I guess what you're saying there, you know, how do you cope with that? Because you grieve for her right now. I'm grieving for her right now. Probably more than when she even passes away. It may be a relief, in fact, you know what I mean, to her, to everybody else. So that's a sadness, you know. So, but the answer, I don't know. You just have to keep going. You keep going in life. You know, maybe this person who's for his wife, maybe he's got kids. You know, that's how you cope. That's how you keep going. You know what I mean? You do that for them. You know what I mean? Because you can't give up.
I guess you find your meaning, which is a nice way to round it up. Whatever your meaning is.
Yeah. God, it's sad.
End on a happy
I don't know.
We're gonna write a song here, so
yes,
the launching off point better be. If you want a sad song,
well, I was going to suggest just some music. Have you heard of Medium Build, Robert? He's
Rail for some reason.
He's originally from Scotland. I think he lives over in America now, but he's been supporting Lewis Capaldi actually on tour and stuff. Right. But his music,
I'll check that out.
Honestly, his EP Health, I think it's right up to your street. And Ben Howard's second album, you might have heard it already. But that,
yeah, no, I have. No,
that's my favorite album of all time.
Well, it's funny. There's another that came out at the same time. I discovered at the same time as you. It's a little band called the Lost Lines. You know, Lost Lines.
No, I'm gonna look them up.
Well, I think you'll like that. You can tell that's coming from the heart. You know, really is. It's a beautiful, very kind of almost sort of stripped down. You know what I mean? Way of producing. It's just sometimes you can even hear the keys of the piano coming up. You know what I mean? It's really, really raw. I really like that kind of thing. So yeah, you give me Medium Build, I'll give you Lost Lines. How about it?
Perfect.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Really, really. I mean, as I said at the beginning, you're an incredible talent, Milo. You know, you really are, and you deserve to go as far as you want to go. Enjoy the
I appreciate that. Thanks so much. It means more than I can say.
Listen, keep in touch. I mean, we wrote the whole Twitter thing.
Yeah.
I'll take on Twitter. I'll give you my number and stuff like that. Email.
Yeah.
And we can get that better.
Well, we'll set up a gig.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Where are you around? Are you playing anywhere?
Not up in Glasgow.
Oh, I'm getting down south actually from July 8th or something. I'm going to Transmit there. I'm going to go down and see Blah.
Are you going to Glastonbury at all?
No, I'm not making Glastonbury this year, but I'll see Damon and Paul. Then down to Brighton, I think, to see.
So maybe I'll try and put on a gig or something. That'd be good. Yeah.
Not especially for me, but
No, especially for you.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, guys. Real pleasure.
Thanks so much.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Great questions.
Cheers. All the best. All the
Ta-ra.
best. Appreciate it.
Well done, mate.
It's pretty mental. I mean, he's talking about going to see his mates in Blur at the same time. At the same time as talking about my music.
That's one off the bucket list, eh?
I don't know if this is going to be like videoed as well, because people can see the smile on my face.
Yeah, well, you did a great job, and the really nice questions, and it's difficult to interview someone like that because they just, they've been asked everything
Oh,
so many
100%.
times before, but
They've got stories as well. You can tell that they're storytellers, So
has such a great voice, doesn't he? I really could just listen to him all day.
100%. I need
It's
an audio
book.
It's about to say, just listening to tales of his life. No, well, honestly, thanks so much for having me. What an amazing opportunity, and I'm sorry that it took so long for me to kind of sort my life out enough to get it going. But like I said, your podcast is amazing. I just think it's such a clever idea.
I had a smile on my face when you were asking about, saying you're a musician.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm an actor. And when I come in to do my podcasts, I say to my family, I say, I'm working now. I'm going to do some work. You're not doing real work, though. You're just doing it.
You take,
I sometimes have to pretend that I'm doing other things rather than the podcast to get some respect in the house.
Dude, take away podcasts, take away music, take away acting, take away writing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when your family sit down to watch a film in the evening,
yeah,
they're watching someone's work.
Oh yeah, they're happy to watch to mainline Netflix.
Exactly, which is work for the person who's done it. So, I guess how does it work now? I need to
we write a hit song that gets goes to number one or whatever songs do nowadays. And, then people can listen back and hear where it came from.
Yeah.
Well, I know that it's got to be raw and real.
Yeah. What? I mean, you covered a lot of territory there. What? Anything that stood out?
A lot. I mean, I feel like from what I've written down, there's a clear path which creatives go through. Early safety in cinema, for me, it's music. It's the teacher figure who believes in you. I had the same kind of similar thing. Riddled with self-doubt, rejection. Just because you've been rejected doesn't mean you're not good enough. Who am I? Based on the kind of primary school musician thing. Self-consciousness, consciousness. Goosebumps, truth, beauty. And I mean, much like my kind of band logo, it's that infinity symbol. It's just always up and down. You're always going through it. That will never change. The self-doubt will never go away. And you get highs, like I will ride this high. Talking, talking to you guys, and just what Robert said, it's just like,
well, if you can, now's the time to write the song.
I'm going to go and sit on the guitar, I think.
Yeah. And don't get up until you.
No, there's no dishes. That's good.
I like that line. Toast to Nuno was quite nice.
Yeah, I should do that.
And that moment when he said, is that it then? When Maggie said, is that it?
Oh, that is a movie in itself.
Yeah.
It's that. it.
Or lemonade bottles to get in, and those kind of
This is useful actually. 'Cause
language. Yeah.
I like what you're saying. It's like you've written down a lot more about some of the lines you said, which is really interesting. Whereas I've kind of written down more of the, I don't know, distant, a bit more metaphorical. So it's useful. Is this it then? Is that it?
Yeah. Well, I think if you just come up now with the energy of it, then we can fill in the lyrics later, and that's I could send you the transcript of the interview, and
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
yeah.
I'm definitely going to do it like on acoustic, I think,
Mm.
with maybe piano. I like that idea of it being not too complex,
Mm. Mm.
really just,
Right.
I want to,
make him cry.
exactly. I want to hear the, that kind of, the breath in the vocals. And stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Getting the goosebump test.
Yeah, I've written that down actually.
Yeah, I think it'll just come. You just need one. You don't need the angle, and you'll need some, some looking out the window, and it'll come to you. So,
Just write Lazy Wednesdays again.
well, I've got a team of musicians ready to fill in the blanks for you as well. We can add on extra sounds and
Amazing.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, thank you so much. And thank you for believing in me. Had some wicked musicians on. Imposter syndrome talking. I don't think I deserved it, but I'll take it.
You do definitely deserve it, and it's really touching music. And I think people should go away and check out your tapes project. Check out Milo Gore. You're on Spotify.
Yeah, all that.
All the usual places.
Yeah.
Follow, like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Listen to more than one song.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, mate. Good luck.
Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy.
Cheers.
Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Don't overthink it, even if you feel like sinking. Time will tell the tales of tomorrow. Sorrow will only get you so far. Only get you so far. And it's easy to believe that everything will be handed to you on a plate. And it's easy to concede to the doubt that's rife, that pulls you down. The strength comes to those who wait. Stand strong, believe in fate, believe in fate, believe in fate. Secondhand lemonade still tastes the fucking same. They just throw it away like it's not a thing. Secondhand lemonade still tastes the fucking same, but they just throw it away like it's not a thing. Secondhand lemonade still tastes the fucking same, but they just throw it away like it's not a thing. Secondhand lemonade still tastes the fucking same, but they just throw suffocates these dreams. Tell myself I won't succeed, and I've been living like this. I've been living like this far too damn long now, trying to find my way out. But my mind is a maze, circus tend to blaze. Clowns run around my head like little birds, cartoon confusion depicted. And I've been living like this. I've been living like this far too damn long now, trying to find my way out. So it's time to reset, no time to regret, time to turn this story around. So I'm holding on, just about praying something comes from all these lyrics. Time will tell the tales of tomorrow. Sorrow will only get you so far.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the song and the episode. The song will be released next week. It will be available on all streaming platforms, but you can already pre-save. Please support the artists by following them on social media and adding the song to any playlists you have. This is a completely free show, and you've listened this far, so I'd really appreciate it if you could pay us back by clicking like and subscribe. And follow at Podsongs on social media platforms, or subscribe to the newsletter at podsongs.com for special updates. Or just tell the next person you see about this amazing show where musicians interview their idols and write a song about them. The songs are available for download from the Podsongs website as well, which pays a lot more than the 0.00 whatever we get from Spotify. You can also email me at jack@podsongs.com to give feedback, suggest an artist and guest combos you'd like to hear, or just say hello. We're a listener-supported show, and I'd love to hear from you. A final thanks to my researchers, Dori Verbo and Rosa Marino, my producer, Maurizio Sanicola of Goldmine Records, and musicians Massimino Vozza and Luigi Falcione. The next episode will be out soon. In the meantime, you can listen to more amazing episodes in the archives. Until then, have a great day.